Hey, it's the Profit Answer Man, Rocky Lalvani. If you're new to the podcast, check out my interview with Mike Michalowicz. It's episode number 2. If you want to hear about each chapter in the Profit First book, go back and listen to episodes 3 through 13. Episode 1 is the why and how. On the Profit Answer Man, we learn money mastery without all the complicated accounting mumbo-jumbo using a simple system. Your accountant is busy documenting your transactions and creating a rearview mirror of what happened. My guess is you don't even look at the reports they sent you. If you're like most business owners, you struggle with this, and it's not your fault. We aren't taught money in school, and accountants aren't taught how to be profitable. The Profit First system created by Mike Michalowicz works, and he certified me to help you implement the system in your business. Remember, the new equation is sales minus profit equals expenses. Let's face it, without cash flow, you can't pay your employees, buy needed materials, or pay your mortgage and support your family. I help you to do that and more, so you can focus on the parts of the business you love and receive the rewards for your labor and investment into your business. The stronger you are as a business owner, the more jobs you create, the better we are as a country. Small business owners are the backbone of America, and for that, you deserve to be well rewarded. Just remember, more revenue does not equal more profit. That's why we focus on the bottom line. Today, we're going to focus on affiliate marketing. This is great when you don't want to hire a salesperson. You can get other people to sell for you. The real benefit is you don't pay them until you're paid. So there's no risk in trying this out. You can also become an affiliate for other people and add a revenue stream to your business if you have clients that may benefit from other people's offers. Kyle Kostechka is with ClickBank, the world's leader in performance marketing of digital products. The ideas we share can be used for physical products as well. Let's meet my friend Kyle. But Answer Man Kyle Kostechka, it's great to have you join us today.
It's great to be here, Rocky. I'm really excited to talk to you. I know it was great when we first met and really excited to be on the podcast and hopefully not bore your listeners. Because I know you won't. But that's my challenge.
You've got some exciting topics, and so I think they will very much enjoy it. Before we get to that, can you tell us a little bit about what you do in your business?
Yeah, so the company I work for is ClickBank, and really my role for them is to meet with entrepreneurs and basically have conversations, consult, and find if there's ways that we can scale their business. So I've been able to do that for really over 9 figures worth of revenue in businesses, taking companies from 0 to 7 figures as fast as 60 days sometimes, all through online means. So I know we'll talk a little bit more about what that could be for businesses, but essentially that's my role is using what ClickBank offers, which makes that process really easy, and all the tools and know-how to effectively go out and make a lot of money for entrepreneurs and business owners.
And that's what we're all about. Not just the top line, but the bottom line too, and to do that profitably, which is one of the reasons I wanted to chat with you, because our first topic is how do we create a free sales force that does all the work for us?
I know. That sounds crazy, right? Like, how do you go about, and wait, free does all the work for me? I mean, that doesn't feel like something you normally find, or there's a scam, it's just waiting for me to say, but wait, there's more, right? So, but no, that's not the case. And really the power of that, and really what that is affiliates or affiliate marketing, which takes on a lot of forms from beyond there. But effectively who we deal with and where we deal with best, and I would just say in general, there's an army of people out there that have what almost every entrepreneur has, which is traffic. Some group of individuals that have an interest, they have a need, and you want that need. You could fill that need, you could solve that problem. And there's this intermediary where the people have their attention. Those are affiliates. And so effectively being able to go out and offer some sort of commission or something, some sort of bounty for those individuals to go out, could create an entire sales force to go out and be incredibly successful. So that happens a lot of different ways. I've actually seen it happen with door-to-door individuals, or physical things where people do. A really good example where we had one. This is a little ways back, but there was an individual that used the same concept for Dish Network. So Dish Network was trying to get installs, and they're trying to get installs in very rural areas, which can be a challenge when you go out to rural areas. It's tough to maybe have like a dedicated sales force there, but they have a huge need for satellite television because they're not going to get cable and they can only get local. So back in the day when satellite television was a thing, that was a big need. And what did Dish do? They advertised and created an affiliate program. There's actually, I connected with a person. This is what their start in affiliate marketing was, and they came up with the idea of for their distribution channels for Dish Network, when they saw this affiliate program, was they went to local restaurants that did takeout and delivery. And what they did is they said, hey, I'll print all your menus for you. All I want is your last page. Right now you're doing a twofold. I'd like to do a trifold, and I just want that last page. I'm just going to put like a Dish ad on there. Is that okay? Well, of course, every single business owner, basically food owner, restaurant owner in the area, and this is the small town in Georgia, took this individual's offer up. They're like, yes, of course I want to do that. And within that time frame, he started putting Dish installs on the back, just ads. And he was getting hundreds of individuals to check that out every single day in this small town. They pull it out, look at the menu, see an ad for Dish. He became the top Dish affiliate within like 30 to 60 days. I'm like, what the heck are you doing? They're calling him up, how are you doing this, right? But again, that cost Dish nothing in terms of there's no marketing cost for them. They didn't have to go put their feet on the door. They got into a market that otherwise would have been incredibly expensive for them. But because there's an industrious individual that knew how to get the traffic, found a way to get it with no cost, they were able to, get a ton of new sales and new acquisition. And where that's an old model, that stuff still works today. So that still exists. You see people doing it physical. In a company that I used to be a director of marketing for, we used affiliate offers on a physical newsletter that we'd send and putting ads on there. So it's a physical newsletter that we know people opened, they cared about, and where we'd sell some of our own products sometimes. Well, gosh, that's a lot of valuable real estate for other individuals. And now I can make money on something that I otherwise wouldn't make because I only could sell what I can sell. And now it became a great acquisition source for other companies out there as we put things on there. So like I said, this could live in a lot of different ways, whether it's something like physical, like we just described in those two examples. It might be somebody that's a social influencer. It might be someone like Rocky, who has a great podcast that people listen to. It could also just be somebody that has an email list or knows how to buy media really well. So I know Facebook ads really well. Well, I don't want to hire an agency that's only going to take a percentage of money I'm already spending as an additional fee. But in this situation, I could just say, hey, $25 for each sale, or even better, do a rev share where you come up with a percentage. So I know I have hey, my margins are 60%. If I offer 40% of every single sale that somebody made, well, gosh, people are going to get that 40%, and I know I'm going to be at margin every single time. The risk is on them to go find the traffic, not on me. So it becomes this amazingly powerful sales force across all these different mediums and traffic sources that you could have access to without having to, like I said, spend a ton of money, go in the red, learn a skill that you might not be good at or you have no idea how to get started on. So it can be a pretty powerful tool. Sorry, I went on a bit of soapbox there, Rocky. Hopefully that answered the question.
It does. And that is the biggest fear that people have when it comes to marketing. They're like, well, how do I know if my marketing is going to work? How much money should I throw at this? And will I get a return? And half the time they sign up with somebody and they get no results. Or they spend a lot of money and they get mediocre results. And so they're not thrilled. And there's that whole fear factor of, should I spend this money? Or I've got a tight cash flow situation, but I need to grow my revenue. And so, as you said, by being able to get people, it's not free in the sense that you're not paying. It's just that you're not paying up front. And if there's no results, you're not paying. You're only paying for the actual sale. And so it definitely works. And it's just a matter of figuring out that little niche way that you can do that. And the guy who came up with the menu plan, that was smart. And I'm assuming he paid for the menu, so Dish didn't even pay for him, right? Came out of his cut?
He did that all on his own because he knew ultimately, and gosh, he actually is a great follow for anybody on Facebook. I need to remember his plug. But he really talks about affiliate marketing, really just being a good business owner is understanding distribution. Like if you are the source of distribution, which is what affiliates are, it's a really great place to be because Dish had a product. They knew people wanted it, but they needed the distribution to get to the people that wanted it. And when you're in that in between, which is what affiliates are, and your sales force is, right? It can be very lucrative if you incentivize them properly. So it's real fast. Travis Sago is his name. So just normal Travis, Travis and Sago. He's got a lot of amazing stories, really good follow. He's just this Southern affiliate that knows, how to be that free sales force for lots of different companies. And I believe now he specializes in doing it just on very high ticket offers. So people that have something that's probably in the 4-figure range, it's a service, it's a training course, something like that. He really specializes in being an affiliate for that. So if any of your listeners have created like a high ticket, very powerful course, so it might be 4 or 5 figures, he'd be a great person to try and get a hold of.
Interesting. So how do these affiliates work? Like how much of a cut do they take? And
yeah. Well, a lot of it depends on the affiliate, the product, the traffic source. So that's a tough one to answer in terms of giving you specificity, but I could share some examples. Well, let me actually first say, I think the premise of that question sometimes is a little bit incorrect. A lot of times people think how much, like what percentage or what amount do I need to pay them? And that number really depends on a lot of other factors. So obviously you want to pay them as much as they could drive traffic to and as much as they're going to make happy and make money. But that's also relative to how good the conversion rate is. So say I have a product, like right now, some of our top products on our platform that use affiliates are supplements, health and fitness supplements. They oftentimes pay out on average anywhere between $90 to $150 per sale. So that's definitely the higher end. But they also tend to convert at scale, at least less than 1%. They might be, getting only 0.87 conversion rates to cold traffic. But with such a large payout, even if it's around 1%, that could be very, very lucrative and beneficial for a lot of these affiliates. Now, I have other offers that are successful that pay out $20 per sale. That conversion rate's getting up to 3 to 4% on cold traffic. So you can see how it's kind of like you have a fixed amount of water that says this is the magical amount that people need to be able to be happy, and affiliates need to be happy. And it's going to shift basically between conversions and average order value, dictate basically how you're going to pay them and if they're going to like it. But a lot of it varies from traffic source to traffic source. So, for example, email is a really common traffic source for affiliates on our platform. So people that have a list of people who've already bought their product, they might be a content creator and they're just sending them out great content, and then occasionally they'll send out and promote a product as well. They're actually looking oftentimes at 2 metrics: PPM, which is profit per 1,000 essentially, 1,000 emails. And then EPC, or earnings per click. So the PPM number varies a lot on list to list. We're not really going to jump into that. We're not going to talk about email in depth. But EPC is pretty common. And for email, you want to, in general, be over $1 to $1.50 is the range you want to be at. If it was some of those buying media, well, that number has to balloon quite a bit. Now your EPCs would most likely need to be $2 to $3 for the affiliates. It are numbers that we kind of tend to that are going to make them happy and allow them to scale and push volume for your.
And so I think as the business owner, one of the things you have to think about is the lifetime value of the customer. Mm-hmm. So, you talked about supplements. Even if you break even on that first supplement, if it's something that you can get them to reorder, then that all becomes the gravy train. And so you figure out how you make this work for your specific business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you're right. LTV is really the key to, I would say, any channel out there, right? If you don't have a good LTV, your power to acquire is going to be so hamstrung. It could not be more evident, though, in affiliate marketing than other channels, because it's an acquisition oriented channel. You're not really doing retargeting. I'm not going to do brand awareness through affiliate marketing. No, this is very much so a performance-based channel. Unless you're doing CPM buys on, say podcast, or you're using influencers, and we'll talk a little about that later. But even still, there should be a performance component to that in most situations. So with acquisition, you definitely need to think, if I'm acquiring somebody, can I do that break even? We even have clients that go in the red, but they know what the LTV is. They know what their back end monetization is so well. Where we commonly see is through email list. So they get a buyer, they break even there, and they actually end up, retargeting for other offers. With supplements too, interesting enough, Rocky. So as somebody, I think the general belief around supplements is I want to get them to buy so they rebuy, like we do with a lot of grocery items, right? Like Coke doesn't care what it takes and costs for you to take the first sip of Coke. Once you have it, you're like, I'd like the second sip and the third and the fourth. Next thing you know, now at some percentage, people become drinkers of Coke, and they're going to continue to consume that. Supplements, it's actually significantly less people that are that person. If you're building a business for repeat buyers in supplements, you're going to hit a ceiling pretty fast, in my experience, unless you have something very specialized, like Persona Health out there, where they do a customized, tailored supplement package, to where it's everything all in one. But the reason for that, and what I found, is most people with supplements in particular, it's not the first purchase. They want to try a lot of things. They get excited about trying something new. So if you're hoping that somebody likes to try new things is all of a sudden going to flip and become loyal, that's a really big ask. So in supplements, we really find it's just be a part of the next purchase, whether it's a cross sell of another product you have, so open up your SKUs, or being now an affiliate on somebody else's purchase. So even this could be brick and mortar or whatever, right? Like if you're selling a product, don't fall in love with just getting the people that'll buy again. You've now identified the data of a buyer. How can I turn that data into something that I could get paid for, knowing that they're not necessarily going to buy from me again? So that's where email monetization, using those affiliate commissions, even if you acquire it through that, becomes another back-end strategy for people to monetize and increase that bottom line, because that's straight to your bottom line. When you get affiliate commissions, it can be very, very effective.
And no, that's fine. Where do you find all these affiliates?
Great question. On lots of different places. Again, it depends on the affiliate. And we didn't touch too much of this on like numbers and success and strategies really do change depending on where your affiliate is getting its traffic from. But places to go, there's about 3 different ways to do it. So, there's probably more, but there's 3 big ones. The first is using a network of some sort. So it could be a CPA network. It could be a network like ClickBank. It could be something like Rakuten, Commission Junction, Share a Sale. There's all these networks where you could put a product up, and affiliates that are looking to promote products will go and find them. You just always want to look and research things to look for in networks. One is how long they've been around does play a big role in it. If they've been around a long time, especially if you're a strongly branded business, that's going to dictate like how good are they at keeping bad affiliates out. Because if affiliate marketplace isn't very good at filtering those out, they won't last very long. They're going to get shut down, or no client's going to for product on there because the quality is so bad. It ruins every merchant processing account that you have. You get refunds and chargebacks and fraud, and blah, 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 blah. This is really evident too in CPA networks in particular. And just so people know, when I say CPA, cost per action, and what that means is basically you're paying a flat commission per sale to an individual to make the sale. But that also means if they return it or charge it back, the burdens of returns are on the offer owner. That affiliate doesn't care what happens after they make the sale. So it's definitely a bit more risky proposition. But just go a little story time. We had a couple of years ago, there was a big movement was shutting down CPA networks. And it was because there was a big bad marketing practice, which was people would do free plus shipping offers, meaning the product's free, just pay the shipping and handling. And then the next thing, what that would do though, is put them into a forced continuity, where basically now they're in a subscription to receive 3 bottles every single month until they die. Kind of like the free DVDs from Disney DVDs back in the day, or when they were books before, like that same concept where you're trapped by an impulse decision. Obviously, it is not customer friendly. It resulted in a ton of like the banks, MasterCard, Visa, credit card companies like, we're getting rid of this and shutting it down. So the reason I bring that up is established affiliate networks would not be allowing for that stuff to happen in the way that it was, because regulation came out and so on and so forth. Ones that are newer that might not be as reliable, they ran it until they were forced to shut down and not exist. So that can be really negatively impactful for you. But networks are a big one to look at. The next is going to be, honestly, there's a lot of software that's going out and finding them in the wild. So a lot of affiliates might not know they're affiliates yet, or they might not be advertising themselves as affiliates, but you can go and find them, whether it's a blog, a podcast, an influencer that you feel would match what you're trying to do. So you reach out to them, you email them. This is a big one I teach and talk to people about doing with email specifically and blogs. So say you are selling a product that helps people golf better. It's a special little arm brace. It helps your swing and so on and so forth. Well, maybe I was doing well with retail, but I want to beef up my, D2C channel instead of having to go like retail and so on and so forth. And I know it's kind of a demonstrative product. Someone needs to see it. So what I do is I go to all these golf blogs. I just go into Google and say golf blogs. And I use a little tool on Google that says sites like this. And I get like 10 different golf blogs that I feel like would be a great fit and I love to run ads to, or pay to have a solo drop to their email list. Most all of them will have a contact us section. You reach out and you just ask. Now, what I've described probably doesn't sound super, efficient from a time perspective. It's not, but it's very good from a targeting perspective. So in going to the people that I know will work. And then the last one is honestly events. It's going to large scale events where there's a bunch of affiliates there. They're all looking for offer owners, and offer owners are there looking for affiliates. And you go and mingle, which we're actually doing just next week. And that's always a really big commonplace. If you're a social butterfly, that you love networking, events in affiliate marketing would be probably your funnest thing you've ever been a part of, because it's a good time for sure.
It's all about getting creative. And I tell people, when you have something like that task that you just talked about, you can find online VAs in other countries to do that for $5-6 an hour. And they will do all your research for you. It's a pretty specific and easy ask. And there's ways to do this without spending a lot. You just have to be a little bit more creative. And that's a big part of it. Let's talk a little bit about influencers. I mean, when we think of influencers, we think we have to pay a lot of money.
Yeah, which definitely isn't necessarily true with influencers by any means. So kind of step back, a lot of, I think there's a lot of people that played around with influencers, but the one that really unlocked it, and the company that unlocked it, was Snow. So I don't know if you guys have heard about Snow, if anyone's out there, but it was this, you might have seen the ads, there are these big like light up teeth whiteners. So it's oral care system. So it's very disruptive to the market, because obviously oral care is Johnson & Johnson. That's these big, massive companies pretty much controlled all of oral care. Then here comes along this individual, Josh Snow, a brilliant guy, is way too young. I don't want to say guy, he's like 28 years old, and the guy has a 9-figure business that's probably going to be a 10-figure business here in a couple of years, and disrupted the oral care industry. But he was able to really do this and be very successful by using influencers. And his influencer strategy might be a little bit surprising. I think a lot of people focused on, he got big celebrities. So he had like Floyd Mayweather and the Kardashians and other big celebrities promoting the product. Well, funny enough, he said, well, that didn't make me any money. They were expensive, hard to deal with. Sure, it created brand awareness, but he said where his ROI came from with influencers, micro influencers. Especially now as things continue to progress in the influencer market, the smaller the influencers, the better ROI. And it's way cheaper for you to market and deal with smaller influencers. So when I say micro, it's really 100,000 or less on Instagram. That's kind of the baseline follower range. That could change for YouTube. It's smaller for YouTube. They tend to be more engaged. YouTube is also a lot more expensive, so we'll kind of detach that. Just really talk about the standard Instagram influencer. But even more so, sometimes just 50,000 or less. And why that's so important is nowadays with large influencers, it's very disingenuous and disconnected. So even if Kylie Jenner or if Joe Rogan says that he uses this product, well, my ability to have an intimate, close relationship with Joe Rogan because he's so big is going to be challenging. He's just too up there. So am I really going to trust what Joe's talking about? Not really. Joe just needs to make money. He cares more about money than he cares about me. Is even if you don't believe that out loud, subconsciously you 100% do. And I would say this has been proven out because those small influencers, we have these intimate relationships. They're more closely speaking the language in the exact same way that I do. We're talking like 2,000, 3,000% ROI with the right micro influencer. It's insane. And the great thing is sometimes you don't have to spend any money with micro influencers. It is like, hey, I'm going to send you some product. Tell me what the product is. Will you promote it for free? Now, I will say, do not go into influencer marketing with the idea that you don't want to pay anything, because then all the influencers will hate you. Most people are going to expect something for a post. We're talking $200, $300. Then for us to turn around, other people I've seen, you get $50,000 in sales off one story that they put on there that might be 60 seconds or 30 seconds with a swipe up to a landing page, just a basic landing page. But you can make a ton of money that way. The other great thing is where we talked about before, well, that could be really grindy because how many times am I going to have to get a $50,000 hit with sales before I really get traction on posts? Well, there's some amazing software out there that helps you find, identify, and reach out to these groups, individuals. And again, it's kind of just like what you said, Rocky. You could easily find some people, give them some templates, give them access to tools, and they'll go out and just find them. Find tons of these micro influencers. You get a surprising amount of posts out of them. You could also even flip it around and turn it into performance-based incentives. So it's like, hey, I can pay you $200, or what if I give you 50% and you would have made $10,000 on this send? Boy, you'll get someone just promoting you without ever having to talk to them again if you could work out some sort of commission and performance deal for somebody when you're working those in. But yeah, the micro influencer route, you find some software. Trying to think like trend.io. There's another one. I think it's Smile. They change often, and there's a ton of them out there. But the software is huge and just consolidating, see what engagement levels are with those micro influencers, because you do want to look at, when I say engagement, that's going to be your likes, comments, along with followers, but on a per post average. But those are things you'd want to look at. You could filter on. You could find who's really connected to their audience. And do they speak the language that I want for my avatar? You can search all that, get a big list of them, then have somebody just go out and reach out. Say, boom, boom, pay. I'd encourage you to start at least like a $5,000 to $10,000 budget. Give it a test, and you'll be shocked with what your ROI will be.
And that is one thing we always like to measure is a return on investment, right? Am I going to be profitable? Is this going to work? And how much do I have to put up front? And the biggest thing here is you're not, in most of these cases, putting in anything up front. It's only when a result is delivered that you actually have to pay. And to me, that's worth it.
Influencers do work on a CPM model, so most of them ask for money up front. Now, I did have a client back in, a while ago. They built their business actually going against the grain. So they only did rev share, and they were selling, the company's called Air Doctor. Great product. It's an amazing air filter. I actually have one in my house, and it's fantastic, works great. But they built their entire business off of influencers on a rev share basis. They go to thought leaders, YouTubers, because their product it's $400, so it's not a low end product, and $400 on an air filter probably requires a bit of a conversation to build trust. But they would just go and really pitch hard to influencers on the potential of revenue. They would show them the product. They'd give them the product for free sometimes, and negotiated hard. And they said it took a while, but after a while, they would just get referrals all the time because one influencer in this market would know 5 other influencers in the same market. And all of a sudden they just, continue to cascade and branch out. So there is a way to do influencers and not have it cost any money up front. But it will cost a lot of conversation and time as a resource. So just be aware of that because you're going against the grain, but you can still do it very, very affordably with micro influencers as well.
Are there any products that this is not suited for?
Yes. I'd say one, like if your product's too specialized and there isn't an influencer for it. Sometimes B2B could be a little bit rough with that, but not necessarily, right? So it depends on what kind of influencers you're working with. So there's times normally where it's an issue is you can't pay anybody on a commission. So you require day one ROI. You need money on the margin up front. On top of that, you don't have enough margin to give to affiliates to make it attractive for you. I see this a lot, especially with food products. So if I have like a disposable food product, it's really low price point. I'm maybe brick and mortar right now. To try and translate to an online market is so hard. It's really, really hard. You probably aren't going to have enough margin for anyone to give a crap. So unless you're doing brand awareness marketing, affiliates probably aren't going to be for you. So you really need something that's going to have a good margin. It needs to be something that has relative broad appeal. You can get really, really niche sometimes, but you can get too niche to where there's not even enough affiliates for you to make hay with your product. So it needs to be broad enough to have a large audience, enough margins to make it successful. And I think logistically, something that could build up scale really fast. One issue I've also seen sometimes as well is we had some clients that tried to build a product that has a really large lead times. It's not super available, and success becomes a failure for them because they sell too much too fast. And affiliates push all the traffic, they can't handle it. Then their mids get crushed because they start getting tons of chargebacks and refunds because they get back ordered. And so now you have a nightmare on your hands. If you can't solve that problem, there's no solve for mass volume, probably not a good fit. The other thing, the last thing I'd say is like, depending on how high the ticket is too. Like if you're getting something like, if you were selling heavy equipment, like like cats and dump trucks, obviously affiliate marketing is not going to work for you. That's such a different sales cycle. It's super relation based. It's a really long sales cycle. It's just not something that would make any sense. So nothing like that would also work. So, but outside that still leaves a ton of products. You have a product that goes to consumers, goes to businesses, you live online. You have margin on that you can give away. You get somebody to sell it. If that fits, check, boom, you should be good to go.
Now, if people want to learn more, you have an opportunity for them, correct?
Yeah. So, we get a lot of people asking, like, they get interested in this idea of like, wow, like a sales force that I don't have to pay for unless they're actually selling. And they could be anywhere, all over the world. I could get global expansion of my product with a click of a button. Yes, please tell me more, right? But that doesn't mean that everyone's ready to take that step. So to give you an idea, like, especially with ClickBank, we are fantastic when a fire is already burning. If you pour gasoline on it, we could take a little flame into a bonfire. But if the flame's not there, we're not going to be a really fantastic fit. And that's where you need to work on your fire building skills for our marketplace. So to help address that and find out, am I ready in my business? We actually have a great little questionnaire that you can click through, and it'll give you a score from 1 to 10, telling you how ready you are to scale with affiliates. If you're on the higher spectrum, that level, we'll actually have either someone like me or one of our other individuals from our marketing team get on a call with you and just talk to you more deeply. Is this really going to make sense? Does this really fit? It seems like you from the questionnaire, but we want to go into more details. So I'll give you a link for that. So you and your audience could, if they're interested and they want to know, am I ready? They could do that and they get a free deeper evaluation. I will say, like, ClickBank's been around for almost 24 years now. And we do that because we're very transparent with who can be successful and how they could be successful on our platform. And when people aren't, we don't want them to come on because we don't want people to get frustrated. We don't want them to hate affiliate marketing and think it doesn't work in their business when they're just not ready for it. So this is a great way to find out if you're ready. And then if the answer is yes, you're ready, you're going to be primed and positioned with the right company and the right people to go out and make the money for you.
And I thank you for that. And we will put that link into the show notes to make it easy for everyone to find it. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks again, Rocky. It was great talking to you. And hopefully everyone enjoyed the call and the podcast. And other than that, I will hopefully see you in the future, Rocky. And you have a good one, okay?
How does this fit into your business? Can you create an affiliate program to find more customers or to benefit from the referrals you make? I always like extra revenue that doesn't come with a big cost to acquire it. Take the time to think this through. It applies to many types of business models, and sometimes it's prevented by law. So just be aware of that. Remember, you don't need more resources. You need to be more resourceful. We focus on the bottom line. If you want a done-for-you service, you can have me as your Chief Profitability Officer because you have your zone of genius and want to spend your time doing what you love. I only work with a handful of clients, so they get my full attention. I work with business owners who have or are growing to $500,000 to $5 million in revenue. You can use the scheduling link in the show notes to get on my calendar for a good fit conversation to see if I'm the right person to support you and how I can help you. If you want to learn about living the life of your dreams, check out my other podcast, Richer Soul. As we close out, let's repeat the mantra. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. Have an abundant and profitable week.